The following interviews were conducted with past and current GMS clients of varying backgrounds, locations, and size to emphasize some of the benefits of conducting a field inventory with global mapping solutions. We hope that this video will help your organization make a more informed decision about what a field inventory can offer to your cooperative and your members.
It really is the basis for everything that we've done since. I mean, it's kind of the backbone of without a good map, without a field inventory, without knowing what your system is, we wouldn't have been able to really implement an accurate outage management system. We wouldn't be able to perform, our engineering studies for our work plan with any real accuracy. We wouldn't be able to implement work management for the line crews because a lot of that is based on the physical location and what's out there. We wouldn't be able to do our outage management system because that's all based on the connectivity that's produced from the field inventory.
Several years ago, we hired a consultant and worked with them to develop a technology work plan. And so as part of that plan, we prioritized projects that we thought would be beneficial to the co-op. GIS was one of the projects that came out on top of the list. And we had pretty good maps, but it was in a CAD-based system. So we didn't have any data behind the maps. What we wanted to do is get to a point where we could use our maps to do maintenance on our system, to do reports and identify areas that needed improvement. And we just thought that that would be something important that would improve the reliability and our quality of service for our membership. So once we converted our CAD-based system to a geographic information system, we had never done a system inventory in our 75 years of history. So we wanted to get accurate data that we could use to populate our GIS. And we really didn't have the manpower to do that ourselves, so we put out an RFP and hired Global Mapping Solutions to help us collect that data. And we feel like going forward that's going to be very valuable to both our employees and to keeping up with technology in the changing world.
We had a GIS system, an Esri-based GIS, but it was the connective model that was broken in so many places when we did the initial transfer from paper maps to digital maps. And it just got worse as the years went on. There were some offsets within the system too that shifted the aerial views, photography away from our base system. So it was difficult for the engineering techs to do their jobs, and I heard from them a lot. They would take them almost more time to fix the maps before they could even design a job to send to the line crews to do.
Yeah.
So that was frustrating for them, and it limited us as to what we could do with that GIS system. So
we had taken the paper maps and converted them or had them digitized 4 times prior to having the system GPSed. And the problem that they would always had is, making the maps match up or having somebody keep those maps up to date. And so there was quite a lot of work done prior to trying to keep, trying to keep the maps updated and installing a GIS, system that would work for the co-op. And so it wasn't until we had it actually GPSed and all the data points were correct, that we were able to maintain the data.
we thought we had really pretty good data, and the stuff that we wanted you guys to capture were upstream devices so that we could do outage management. And we wanted to make sure we got all the transformers, both overhead, underground, all the switch gear, reclosers, caps, to ensure that we could do an outage management system. And from an operational standpoint, that's what That's what I wanted. And we didn't really want to spend the extra money at the time to do a full system inventory. Some people didn't feel it was necessary. But in hindsight, I think perhaps we should have done that.
Having a detailed model with wire size on every span, transformers, wire size on every service, every meter being in there. Now, when we have a model that basically is detailed, that goes down to the meter, so we can do load flows in as much detail as we want or not. So on the outage management side, we didn't have one, and I would argue that you'd have a very difficult time implementing an outage management system that's worth anything without doing a field inventory. For line loss, we have seen our line loss drop by about 2% without the field inventory and AMI and all those things. You're guessing at best as the load balance.
Well, now we'll have more information to go on, essentially. We'll be able to use that distribution analysis tool to find out where our weak spots are at. And we can plan accordingly, for capital improvements or bigger improvements based on that information. Whereas how it's been in the past is we have a pretty good feel for our system, and it's not that huge that we figure, well, it's a gut feel. Operationally, this is where we're having problems, so we should focus here. But unbeknownst to us, we may not know what's going on electrically and where our weak spots are.
We pretty much know within minutes what fuse or recloser is open. And in circumstances where that might be, that breaker might protect 10 miles of line, 12 miles of line. The guys can give the engineer a fault current that comes off the breaker that's open. We can throw that into our windmill system, and I mean very accurately. And again, this is only because we have the field inventory with the correct wire size and the correct, all the information that came from that fed into our engineering analysis software. We can predict where that outage is based on the fault current is, within a mile. So we can trim a 15 mile, 10 mile, 20 mile section of line that the guys would normally be looking at and send them to a specific area. And, they've grown very confident that whenever we give them, that it's going to be close to that area. So that's just one of those things that can turn 2 hours of patrolling into a half hour. So you've reduced your outage time for maybe a substantial number of members. How do you measure that?
And whenever we implemented the outage system, I know that the overtime for the linemen went down quite a bit, because we were able to send a crew out to an area that we knew where the outage was, instead of having them send 2 or 3 crews out to walk the entire line, to find out where the thing was. So I know that the overtime for the linemen went down quite a bit after the outage system was implemented.
Engineers who use that data on a daily basis, the distribution techs or the stakers, have told me that it's accurate, spatially accurate now. The phasing's correct where it wasn't before. Things are where they should be. From a customer service standpoint, we get customers calling in saying, you got a street light out here. Well, where's it at? And, well, it's on the corner of 5th and 101. They don't give you a pole number. But now we can zoom in on that with the aerial maps. Things are correct as they should be. And we can ask them, is it right next to Rite Aid? Right there? Yeah, that's it. So it's just kind of a little thing, but for them it was big.
And for sure within 5 years. I don't know that I can quantify. If you're just looking at dollars, I guess there are ways that you could evaluate it. But to me, it, as I've said, it's kind of been the basis for all the technology that we've implemented since, and operationally, it makes us better. It makes us more efficient. It makes us safer. I mean, there's just a lot of intangible benefits that that I've seen personally, and I mean, to me, it was a no-brainer.
By the time you guys were finished GPS in the system, they wanted the data. They were looking forward to it. And so as we presented it to them, they were more open to using it and to, you know, having all that information, you know, at their fingers. You know, and it started off on a tablet to begin with, moved over to a netbook, and then you know, now we're presented to them, you know, on a cell phone. So, you know, they're getting more data, you know, more often, more complete, you know, and in an easier format. So I think the line crews at least have benefited from it, and really like the way they can pull up the information anywhere at any time.
So there was a little bit of a transition, but overall, I mean, they definitely have more tools available to them than they ever had before.
If they're changing out a pole or something like that, they know before they leave, you know, what kind of equipment they need to take, size of pole, size of wire, what's on, you know, if there's a transformer on the pole, cross arm or anything like that. They know generally what they need to take with them, instead of going out, looking at it, then having to come back in.
I see improved efficiencies, that we're not losing paperwork. Now everything's tracked through tasks, and so you know, we don't have a connect that falls in the wastebasket or paperwork that's lost. So I think there's an improved efficiency just in making sure that every job is tracked and gets complete. I think the other thing is, when we've had major storms, we've been able to provide accurate maps, and it's very helpful when you have outside crews coming into your system and them knowing how lines feed and where things are and how they relate to the roads, and you know, all of the background information that we have in our GIS system that we've gotten from the county, and roads and, you know, structure locations, all those things. It's just very helpful for outside crews to have some idea of what they're working on and how things feed. From a safety standpoint, it's very important.
And it also helps out during fires, forest fires, when we're able to provide the information, or the Forest Service has the information of where our lines are at.
Impacts of hiring new people. When you add a line crew, kind of like bringing someone from the outside for a major storm. Before, with paper maps, and you know, they used them when they had to, but basically it was that knowledge of 20 years and knowing the system because of experience that they relied on. And well, I mean, I think that's still very important and still the case. For someone new, it's a lot easier to kind of come in and figure out how things feed and where our assets are, where our lines are, where our substations are, how to get to places.
Using the data in the GIS to do maintenance and keep track of you know, maintenance schedules on our equipment, but we also want to tie that to information in our accounting and billing systems. One of the things that we've been working on over the past several years is improving the accuracy of our property tax boundaries, and the GMS data is really going to help us clean that up. So the next phase of this will be to use the construction units that GMS collected for us and tie that to our continuing property records, so we can have very fine-grained data when it comes to identifying what's in each tax district.
We use that model for tree trimming applications so that we can predict when we need to trim, how much it's going to cost, how long it took us last time, do we need a bucket truck, do we need flaggers, you know, that's how we leverage that model.
A lot of applications, even outside of, it's not just maps, it's
not just a map.
Yeah.
it's a geographic information system, and it's powerful. If you can really leverage that data.
They put the data on a Garmin. And so we do that, we send them the data, they manipulate it, they send us back a map, we put it on a Garmin GPS, put it in the truck. And so now when somebody needs to go someplace, they put in your meter number or a service address or something like that, and it'll do a complete route, to that location, to that house. So there again, if you get somebody that's new and doesn't know how to get to someplace, they can iterate it in the system and it'll take them right directly to it.